everybody, and thank you. So in this video we're going to be adding some data source information so we can get it ready to go ahead and start developing our database. Although we probably won't get into the actual database development in this video, we just want to go ahead and create the data source that it's ready for us. So to create a data source, if you're unfamiliar, what you want to do is you want to go to your ColdFusion administrator. Now if you're like on a web host, it may be a little bit different, but if you're on a local machine, just go to your main location to where your site's installed. It could be 8501 or 8500, whatever it is. Just put /CFID administrator index.cfm and it'll take you to the administrator. You actually don't need index.cfm, but that's there. Okay, and you'll have to log in, and you want to do is you want to click on the tab Data and Services. You want to see a tab called Data Sources. So click on that tab and you want to go ahead and add a new data source. And when you add a data source, it's going to look something very similar. I already created the data source. Give me a second. It's going to look similar to this, where you want to provide your name of the data source, your database name, the host of where your database is located, the username to the database, the password that goes with the username, and just give it a quick description. Okay, and very good. And once that's saved, you want to scroll down and you'll see the source that you just created. And you want to make sure that it says OK. If it gives you an error, just go back and check, make sure your settings are appropriate. Make sure your username and password, as well as your drivers, correct. In this case, we use MySQL 4-5. So that's most common, but you can use other data sources. But this is really geared more towards 4.5. Alright, very good. So let's look at the code and let's go ahead and see how we are implementing the database. So what we do is we are in the Application.cfc file, as you can see, and we add a new little bit of code here. This is the new addition, and we just say data source information and a comment there. We are actually creating a structure for the data source. This is so it's a little bit easier to work with and to call. That way we can kind of keep it organized. We say cfset application.data source name, so that's the name of the data source. cf core, the username, that's the username that you set for your data source. Now you're probably thinking, well, I already set that. Well, this is needed if you're not going to be running in Sandbox. If you're running in Sandbox, it's not needed, but as a good coding practice, I recommend doing this. And your application password, your data source password, that's the same password as toward your username. And if you're worried about somebody accessing, if somebody accesses your application.cfc file directly, which I'll show you, they won't get any information. I will go ahead and do that. So let's go back and we'll show you, and we'll just say application.cfc, and we'll see what we get. We get an error. So yeah, so very good. That's actually it's a bad error, and generally when displayed in a production environment, but generally nobody's going to access your application directly. Alright, so that's just very basic, and we are now ready to go ahead and to start creating the database, and we'll work with you to show you how to create queries, etc. And we'll go more so into the inet include file, and we'll start adding some code to that. That way we can start getting a little bit of functionality, not a lot, but just a little bit that we can do in less than 10 minutes. Alright, so this is the video. This one's just going to be really short and sweet, and we're all set, guys. Have a good one. Any suggestions, comments, concerns, just hit me up with messages or comments. I'll greatly appreciate it. Everybody have a great one, and I'll talk to you guys later. Alright, goodbye.